This is Seedance 1.0 by ByteDance, a company out of China. And right now, it is the #1 video model on the Hugging Face leaderboards, beating VEO3 by 50 ELO points. It is incredible, but is it as good as VEO3? Let's find out. And this video is sponsored by Augment Code. More on them later. All right, so here's the first video. A cinematic video of a female gymnast performing a floor routine in an empty, well-lit gymnasium. She runs, performs a series of flips with perfect form, and lands cleanly. The camera follows her movement smoothly, capturing her athleticism, precision, and grace in real time. 1-to-1 ratio, 5-second duration, 480p. Now, I did the first couple in 480p before just upping it to 1080, so the first couple are gonna be a little lower quality than the rest. And if you haven't seen video generation models try to do gymnastics, it never works out well. Their limbs start deforming or falling off completely. It's really weird. Let's see how it does. All right, so she's running. She definitely looks a little stiff, and yeah, nothing quite looks right. It just looks like she starts jumping without actually kind of bending her knees to start jumping. At least none of her limbs are deforming, but yeah. And one thing you're gonna notice about all of the videos coming from Seedance is all of the characters in them and a lot of the themes overall have kind of a Chinese vibe to it. And of course, that's because this is a Chinese model trained on Chinese video data. Now, let's compare it to VEO3. All right, starts out good. And yes, the limbs definitely deform. Let's see it again. So she's running, watch her legs kind of flip backwards through her body. I'd say this looks less realistic than Seedance. I'd say I'm gonna have to give this one to Seedance, but honestly, just barely. Next, realistic street interview. So a realistic street interview video outside a lively bar at night. A Gen Z interviewer in casual trendy clothes holds a mic and chats with another Gen Z person wearing a hoodie and sneakers. Neon signs glow in the background. Cars pass by, faint music spills from the bar. Unfortunately, there's no sound in Seedance. The conversation is animated with natural gestures and expressions lit by ambient streetlights. Let's take a look. Now, in terms of quality, just from this screenshot, it is incredible. But as you can see, both of the characters are Asian. The majority of the writing on the wall looks very foreign, although some of it looks like it might be English letters. But let's watch the video. All right, so they're talking. I mean, this is pretty flawless. You can see the cars coming by. All of the cars, even behind the pole, look really good. The light flashing on the pole looks really good. And so, yeah, the clothing looks good. How the clothing moves looks really good. How they're holding it, their fingers, everything. I'd say this is flawless. And if I showed this to most people, they would not know it was created by AI. Okay, so that was really good. Let's see VEO3's version. All right, so just looking at the frame, everything looks pretty good. This guy kind of has a weird posture and a odd face, but that's okay. All the cars look good. Definitely a wet scene on the ground, which I think makes it look more realistic, kind of like Need for Speed back in the day. All right, let's give it a watch.
So what's the craziest thing you've ever done on a night out?
Oh man, where do I even start?
All right, so one thing I noticed immediately is that the audio does not sync with the lips of the person who is speaking. And I can't really test that on Seedance because there's no audio, so I don't know. Let's watch it again. Let's see what we notice.
Craziest thing you've ever done on a night out?
Yeah, these guys in the background
man,
look very
start?
cut off, very odd. They're kind of morphing. Watch this person's hands as they start interviewing.
What's the craziest thing
Boom,
you've ever
completely
done on a night
morphing
out?
around. So I'm definitely gonna have to give this to Seedance. This is a win for Seedance for sure. All right, so let me show you how to use it. This is Seedance. It has two options. Up in the top, you're gonna choose Seedance 1.0 Pro. I paid about $100 for 16,000 credits, and every generation I run, because I'm doing essentially the top settings at 1080p and 10 seconds, is 800 credits to run. So not inexpensive. You can either do image to video or text to video, and I'm only doing text to video for now. And then you enter your prompts here, you click generate, and then let it go. It is significantly slower than VEO3's generations. All right, next, two trains crashing into each other. Now, the last time I tested VEO3, it was not able to simulate two trains crashing into each other. I couldn't even get close to it. And one of you pointed out that there's just not a lot of training video data of two trains crashing into each other, but It should be able to generalize. That is the whole point of these models, but apparently it can't for this. Let's see what Seedance can do. A dramatic, realistic video of two full-size freight trains crashing head-on at high speed in a remote open landscape. The impact sends debris flying with sparks, smoke, and metal screeching. The scene is intense and chaotic, filmed in real time with a wide cinematic view capturing the full force of the collision. Okay, let's see if it's any good. Now, in terms of quality, it is very good. Just looking at the picture itself, not any of the physics behind it. Now, this is 1080p. Let's watch. So I can already see one train is behind the other, not really crashing into each other like I would have wanted. And there we go. Now all the smoke's coming out all of a sudden. So in terms of quality, it's really good. In terms of realism, not so good. All right, now VEO3. Yeah, the physics are way off. This thing in the middle kind of comes out of nowhere, it starts existing. And yeah, this is not what a train crash would look like. They look like bouncy cars. Honestly, I don't know who to give it to. They're both really bad. Maybe in terms of the one I enjoy more, I'm gonna give it to VEO, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. And if you're into creating incredible things with AI, check out the sponsor of today's video, Augment Code. You're a professional software engineer and sometimes vibe coding just won't cut it. Augment Code is an AI assistant built for real engineering teams. It ingests your entire code base. I'm talking millions of lines, mature code bases, tens of thousands of files. So every suggestion that it gives you lands in context and keeps you in flow. And with Augment's new remote agent, you can queue up parallel tasks like bug fixes, features, and refactors. Close your laptop, go do something else, come back, and it's done. And the only thing you need to do, review the pull request. So if you are reaching the limit of your other AI coding tools, give Augment Code a try. Augment Code also never sells your code, so your team's intellectual property stays yours. And you don't even have to learn new tooling or switch to something else. You can use Augment Code within VS Code, JetBrains, Android Studio, or even Vim. Start your 14-day free trial at augmentcode.com. Let them know I sent you. All the links down in the description below. Thanks again to Augment Code. Now back to the video. Now, of course, I had to give it the Rubik's Cube test. Let's see if it's able to simulate a Rubik's Cube being solved or at least turned with human hands. So a realistic close-up video of a Rubik's Cube being solved by a pair of human hands on a table. The hands turn the cube quickly and confidently with each move clearly visible. The background is minimal and well lit, focusing entirely on the cube and the solving process, ending with all 6 sides perfectly aligned. You think it's going to be able to do it? Let's find out. So again, very realistic, but it's not really moving all that much. It's kind of moving. The hands actually look really good, but again, the video actually capturing the hands moving the Rubik's Cube is not there. And then we see the colors kind of changing sides randomly. So this is decent, but far from what I asked for. All right, VEO3, let's see. Okay. So you can see the hands moving the pieces more, but still very far off from a realistic looking Rubik's Cube solve. I'm gonna give this one to VEO3 only slightly because it has a little bit more movement and a little bit more realism to it. Next, let's do a Pixar style video. So Pixar style animated short showing a small curious robot with round eyes and stubby limbs exploring an abandoned toy store at night. The scene begins with a robot pushing open the creaky front door, so you can see there it is. Dust motes floating in the moonlight streaming through broken skylights. Shelves are crooked and packed with vintage toys, Jack-in-the-Boxes, stuffed animals, wooden trains, and action figures frozen in time. The robot cautiously walks down the aisles, activating a wind-up dinosaur with a gentle touch. The dinosaur jerks to life, blinking, then playfully nudges the robot. They weave through toppled displays and slide down a spiral slide in the play area. As they bond, old toys begin to stir around them, creating a magical moment as the store comes alive. The animation features exaggerated, expressive character motions and warm, stylized lighting in classic Pixar fashion. Let's watch it. That was a long prompt. Okay, we got the robot coming in, swings open the door, looks good. There's the dinosaur, touches it, comes to life. I mean, this looks fantastic. All right, there's a little bit of morphing with whatever this thing is, and it's missing like half of the things I described. But in terms of what it looks like for what it is, it's actually really good. I can definitely imagine creating an entire movie using Seedance or VEO3 or any text to video model. And here's one thing that I really like. Check this out. You can see the moon behind the door and through the cracks, and it's kind of cloudy glass. So it looks really good. And as the door swings open, look at this. Part of the door goes over the moon perfectly. I can't get over that. That is so impressive. So if you fast forward a little bit, on the left side, the moon is seen through this cloudy glass or dirty glass. On the right side, where you can see directly at the moon, it's very clear. Look at that. Flawless. All of the features of the moon don't change at all. I am blown away by that. And not only that, you can see the reflection of the moon on the back of the door, on the glass as well. So overall, very impressive. And look at that. As the door swings open, it kind of bounces back a little bit. Very realistic in the physics. Let's watch it again. Boom. Very nice. Okay. VEO has its work cut out for it. Let's see. Okay, so very different vibe, dark. Let's see what it does. So there's the robot coming in. Much more cinematic, I'd say. The robot looks better, except the entire scene morphs. Let's watch it again. Comes in, touches the robot, touches the dinosaur, comes to life, and then all of a sudden all these other animals and toys. The only thing is it's not very consistent across the scene, but I think the overall scene looks a lot cooler. There's a lot more detail in it. In terms of consistency through the video and what looks good for the longest, I'd say Seedance wins, but honestly, the way that in this version, the camera pans around and follows the robot, I think that's super impressive. So I'm gonna have to give it to VEO3. The only thing I ding it for is the fact that it changed scenes very quickly. And it looked like it was one consistent scene, but it's clearly a completely new environment. All right, next, I wanted some chaos. So a realistic video of a couple eating dinner at a small table inside a brightly lit modern restaurant with large windows and clean decor. What I was looking for here is realism followed by surrealism. I wanted something that looked really good, really real, and then transitioned into something that couldn't really happen. So here it is, a realistic video of a couple eating dinner at a small table inside a brightly lit modern restaurant. Suddenly it begins to pour rain heavily, only inside the restaurant. Now remember that, only inside the restaurant. Confused, the couple looks around, then quickly gets up and runs outside to escape the downpour. As they step outside, the rain stops instantly. It's sunny, warm, and completely dry. The couple looks back at the restaurant in disbelief, water dripping off them as the interior continues raining behind the glass. Let's see if it can do it. Okay, there's the couple, very realistic. Okay, they get up, it's not raining inside. Then they go outside and it starts pouring. So that is not what I asked for. All right, let's see VEO3. All right, so it is raining inside. It's hyper realistic. They walk outside and it's still raining. So not quite what I asked for. Now, here's the thing. They're both smiling and it kind of looks like a rom-com, especially if you listen to the music. So this might have been trained on rom-coms because again, look at it. It looks like a scene from any rom-com. Got the music, they're having fun, they're running outside, playful. But yeah, still did not do it. Now, I'm gonna have to give this to VEO3 only because it was actually raining inside, whereas the other one, it was not. Next, let's see how it is at generating video games. So a cel-shaded Zelda-style animated scene set in a lush, fantastical forest with tall glowing trees and ancient stone ruins. A young sword-wielding hero with a green tunic and pointed ears stands on a mossy cliff, gazing over a distant castle shrouded in mist. The camera follows as the hero leaps down, draws their sword, and dashes through the forest. Very specific, slashing through tall grass and solving a glowing puzzle on an ancient pedestal. Okay, let's play it. So we can see the ears, definitely doesn't quite look like Link and doesn't quite look cel-shaded, but let's see how it is. The movements look like video game movements for sure. The character running looks like a video game character running, but it is almost certainly not cel-shaded. And here you can see jumps, runs, doesn't do any of the things that I said, including kind of cutting down the grass, solving the puzzle. He does run up to what looks like might be a puzzle, but does not solve it. All right, let's see if VEO3 can do any better. So here definitely took a different style. This is much more like illustrated style, also not cel-shaded. Let's see. Okay, look at this up here in the corner. We have kind of the health bar, the energy bar, so it really does look like a video game. The dashing of the character looks good. It is actually solving a puzzle, so that's good. It has its sword out. This looks like a really cool game. So this one is an absolute win for VEO3. All right, next I wanted to try some realism and horror, and I did 2 generations with Seedance, so let's check both of them. A hyper-realistic horror scene set in a decaying, dimly lit hospital hallway at night, flickering fluorescent lights, a lone person in a hospital gown right there, walks slowly, breathing heavily, and the sound of distant dragging echoes. Again, there is no sound for Seedance. Suddenly, a tall, faceless humanoid figure with elongated limbs lurches into view from a side corridor, jerking unnaturally. The camera follows the person in a shaky close-up style as they run, glancing back to see the figure silently pursuing, gaining ground. So, this is Seedance and not an Asian character, so let's see. So running, and then, oh my God, that is terrifying. That is so good, except the person ran the other way and this guy is coming towards me. But the realism is stunning. This is really, really good, except the physics just are not quite there. Every Seedance video that I've watched, it just seems like they're moving slowly. And I'll show you more of that as we continue. All right, let's see the second version. Again, non-Asian character. Let's go. So running, little trip, and another absolutely terrifying character here. So it's very interesting. Every time I run the same prompt more than once, the scene is almost identical. And then also one other thing that I noticed is the physics on this one, the monster in the back comes out of the wall. So I'd say it's still really cool looking, but certainly the physics are way off. Now let's try VEO3. All right, here we go. Definitely more realistic running. This guy's running more quickly. Absolutely terrifying. The lighting is better. All right, so I'm gonna have to give this a VEO3, but not by much. Next, let's see some futuristic scenes of a city, lots of chaos. So a silent apocalyptic scene unfolds in a futuristic megacity during a Category 5 hurricane. Blinding lightning pulses across the sky as towering billboards burst into showers of sparks, casting eerie neon strobes over streets filled with chaos. Looters in glowing masks ransack shattered storefronts while robotic riot units engage rebels in powered exosuits. A high-speed monorail derails above. So there's that. There's the exosuits right there. There's the lightning slamming into a skyscraper that collapses in slow motion, sending glass and steel into the flood-soaked streets. All right, let's play it. Okay, so we have the building crashing, there's the monorail, there's the guys in the exosuits coming in. Here's kind of a drone up top, lightning in the back. We have a flood. Let's watch that flood again. The fire looks incredible. Watch this. Look how good that looks. Boom, the fire looks fantastic, except it goes out immediately. But the actual physics of the fire look incredible. And then there's the water. Okay, that's really good. All right, now let's watch VEO3. Here it is. Lots of lightning, exosuit guys, monorail, glass crashing, and it switched scenes again, so the consistency is not quite there, but I still think it looks really good. And take a look in the background. You can kind of see a little monster back there or something. I think it looks really good, but the scene switch is getting to me, so I think I'm gonna have to give this to Seedance. Next, more realism, more physics, kind of like gymnastics, but this time diving. So a realistic video of a professional diver on a high diving board in an Olympic-style indoor pool. The diver stands tall, focused, then performs a graceful jump with perfect form, tucking and twisting midair before entering the water with barely a splash. The pool area is bright with reflections on the water and a few spectators in the background. So pretty good. If you just look at this image, you might not be able to tell it was AI generated. The camera tracks the full motion from launch to entry, emphasizing precision and athleticism. Let's see how it looks. So just looking here, it looks really good. Okay, so it looks good so far. No, that's terrible. Let's look at all the issues. Actually, the water simulation looks decent, but here we go. He jumps right on it, loses his legs, morphs in a million directions, and then basically loses his shirt as well. So looks terrible. And all of the spectators in the background aren't moving at all. Yeah, this was horrible. All right, VEO3, let's see. So he goes to dive, jumps. At least he's not morphing. But that was an ugly dive. But obviously, this one takes the win because there's no morphing of the body, no diving into the diving board. Yeah, so this is a very clear win for VEO3. Next, a massive monster truck with oversized tires thunders through the heart of a modern city, blanketed in snow. Skyscrapers loom on either side, their glass facades reflecting flashes of red and blue from traffic lights. Yeah, I kind of see that. Okay. The truck drifts around icy corners, crushing parked cars and plowing through snowbanks, leaving a trail of chaos. Snow kicks up in thick clouds behind it as it fishtails through intersections, barely avoiding spinning taxis and toppling newspaper stands. Steam rises from manhole covers, adding to the sense of speed and danger. The sky is overcast and everything is coated in white except for the dark tire tracks carving through the slush. Okay, I see most of that, but let's see how it actually looks. And again, this is one of those things that it's not going to have any reference video for. Okay, monster truck looks good, going through, plowing through the snow, it starts skidding. All of a sudden, it morphs front to back. It's definitely not crushing cars around it. It's not leaving a trail of chaos. The city looks extremely realistic, but this is the only thing that moves. So it's pretty good in terms of realism, but not quite what I asked for. All right, here it is from VEO3. Okay, much more chaos. At the beginning, at least. There it runs into a taxi that turns into a newsstand, morphing, unrealistic. I think I'm gonna have to give this one to VEO3 though, just because it does actually run into something, but just barely better. Next, a hyper-realistic futuristic space soldier clad in advanced exoskeletal armor with glowing accents, sprints through the metallic corridors of a massive alien warship orbiting a gas giant. Plasma rifles blaze with blue and orange streaks lighting up the dark, battle-scarred interior. Explosions ripple through the environment as enemy troops, sleek biomechanical aliens, return fire with energy weapons. Sparks fly, bullet casings clatter on the floor, and the soldier dives behind cover before launching a counterattack with a shoulder-mounted railgun. Okay, let's see how this does. Already, it doesn't look great. It looks just very cartoonish. Here we go, he's running. I think the physics actually look really good. The ship in the background looks good. Ship's coming across. The bridge starts to morph a little bit. So it looks like kind of an older video game, I would say. Definitely lacking the detail that I was expecting. All right, now for VEO3, I can already tell it's much higher quality. Let's watch. Yeah, look at those explosions, the gunshots, diving. Wow, this is incredible. Very impressive. And of course, the sound is great, running down the hallway, shooting aliens. This is an absolute win for VEO3. Then I wanted to go even harder on hyper-realism. So, two elite UFC fighters square off in the center of a brightly lit octagon, surrounded by a roaring crowd. The atmosphere is tense and electric. One fighter is a muscular striker with sharp tattoos. The other is a lean grappler. They are both very muscular. Sweat glistens on their skin under the harsh arena lights. I can see immediately it has the ESPN logo right there and the UFC logo right there. I don't even know if I should be showing that. All right, so let's watch. They both look like twins. So they're kind of punching each other, not really. A little bit here and there, a little bit of blood, but yeah. Definitely no grapplers there. Everything looks really good. It looks detailed, but it's just like they're not quite punching each other and the physics of the punching is not there. And VEO3's version, I can already tell it looks like a video game. Here it is. Yeah, this is a recreation of a video game, it looks like. The realism is not nearly as good as Seedance's version. But at least they're punching and kicking each other. In terms of movement and physics, VEO3 won, but in terms of realism, hyper-realism, Seedance won this one. So I think I'm gonna give it a tie. All right, now let's do some fantastical generation. A colossal bioluminescent Leviathan floats through the sky over a surreal alien landscape, its translucent wings shimmering with ever-shifting colors, deep blues, radiant purples, fiery oranges. Below, a crystalline jungle pulses with light, each plant a living fiber optic, glowing and undulating in sync with a distant thunderous rhythm. Okay, I'm not gonna read the rest. It already does not look good. It doesn't look realistic. There's some writing in the sky. The waterfall doesn't look good. Let's watch. Okay, yeah. So this just does not look good. It looks like if MS Paint were a video. Okay, next, VEO3. Oh yeah. This is an absolute win for VEO3. The detail, the physics, look at the Leviathan flapping its wings over the crystalline forest, the shadowing, much, much better. Absolute win for VEO3. Next, I really wanted to see physics and fast physics. I wanted to see something move quickly in Seedance because nothing has moved quickly so far. A man in a sleek aerodynamic wingsuit with small carbon fiber wings and a reflective visor dives from a jagged cliffside, rocketing down the spine of a snow-dusted mountain ridge at extreme speed. The camera follows from a tight third-person perspective, capturing the roar of the wind and the rush of the air as he threads between trees over rocky outcroppings and just inches above the terrain. His suit ripples with the air pressure and contrails form briefly behind him. All right, so in terms of realism, it looks really good, but again, he's not really moving all that quickly. I think the actual scenery, the nature is not looking great. There's a lot of little morphs. You can see the rocks are grainy, the trees are a little grainy and moving like they shouldn't. The guy himself looks pretty darn good. The physics of air going into his suit and lifting him up, that all looks really good. The shadowing looks really good, but he's not moving fast. You would expect something like this to be moving much faster. All right, now VEO3. I can already tell it's gonna look a little bit better in terms of how quickly it's moving. We can see the motion blur on the rocks. Let's watch. Oh, but he's going uphill. Oh, and he starts morphing. Oh my God, that's terrible. Now he doesn't even have a wingsuit. All right, that's really bad. Now he's definitely moving faster, but everything else is worse. Okay, that one's going to Seedance, obviously. All right, next, I really wanted to see if we can get Seedance to do something hyper realistic and really emphasizing the Chinese cultural elements of it because that's the video it was trained on. So let's see. A serene, mist-covered mountain village at dawn in rural China. Traditional wooden houses with tiled roofs line a narrow stone path. Red lanterns sway gently in the breeze, so all of these look good. A young woman in floating hanfu walks slowly with paper umbrella, crossing a wooden bridge over a koi-filled stream. The scene transitions to a sudden burst of action. A dragon dance erupts in the town square. Firecrackers explode. The camera follows the movement in dynamic slow motion. All right, there she is. She's walking across. These fish are enormous and kind of floating on top of the water. And there are just changed scenes. The smoke looks incredible. But yeah, it just doesn't quite look real. Now let's give the same one to VEO3. The fish look much more real. Change the scenery. Yeah, it's okay. They're both okay. Both not great. I think I'm gonna have to give this the VEO3, but just edged out Seedance. So that's it for today. Let me know what you think about this comparison. Who do you think won? I think I'm gonna have to give the edge slightly to VEO3, just because there were just more realistic physics with it. And once again, thank you to Augment Code for sponsoring this video. I'll drop all of the links down in the description below. Check them out, tell them I sent you. It helps this channel, plus they have an awesome product. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.